Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining here. I guess first off, I'd like to thank the Chicago Blackhawks and the Blackhawk organization, Rocky Wirtz, Danny Wirtz, and the entire Wirtz family for allowing me to be on their team for the last 16 seasons. We had great memories and great run, and Chicago Blackhawks are always going to be in my heart. Having said that, at this point in my career, I feel that being closer to my son Colton here, he lives here in Penticton, and that was a huge thing for me. And I just felt like the Edmonton Oilers, right now, it was a good fit, a great fit, and I'm excited to start this new chapter of my career and try to win a cup in Edmonton.
Thank you for that, Duncan. And with that, we'll go to our first question. Reed Wilkins, go ahead.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, Duncan. Welcome to the Oilers.
Thank you.
You mentioned your personal interest in coming west with your son, and you mentioned that you think you can be a good fit with the Oilers. I wonder if you could just elaborate on that a little bit. What do you think you can bring with the Oilers, and how do you think it's going to gel with the team they currently have?
Well, I think a lot of things get said about my age, and obviously I've had some experience being in the playoffs, and I certainly want to bring as much to the table as I can in that regard, and help any of the younger guys out in any way I can. But for me, my mindset going to Edmonton is to be the best player I can be, because that's what's going to help the team the most is what I do on the ice. And I'm excited for the opportunity and the challenge that is ahead of me here. I want to bring a strong work ethic, and I think everything starts from that.
You referenced your age as the calendar has progressed over the years here. Has the way you have had to play or prepare as an athlete changed over the years? And if so, how? Thank you.
I don't know necessarily if it's changed because of my age. I think it's changed just from experience and learning more on what allows me to be at my best. So the preparation on my part is going to be there, and I'll be ready to go. I think everybody's different in what they feel they need to do to prepare, and I certainly have done a lot of different types of training and things like that over the years. So I'm confident that I'll be ready to go when camp opens up.
Thank you. Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Hi, Jim.
Hello there, Duncan. A couple of things. How much bearing did the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse play on this team have in you're wanting to come to the Oilers?
Well, certainly when you look at the Oilers, you think of their team and their players. Those guys are front and center. So they got two of the best players in the world, in Connor and Leon, and they've shown what they're capable of doing. So definitely, having those guys on the team, that when you get into playoffs, you need those elite players to be able to put the puck in the net in tight games, and it's certainly a nice thing, an added bonus. But I look up and down that roster, and I see a lot of good players, a lot of effective players that we're gonna need to rely on, throughout the course of the season, guys. It's obviously goaltending is huge, and then defense and the forwards working together to keep the puck out of your net. So I look at kind of the ingredients that team, the Oilers have. There's a lot of guys. I think Zach Kassian's a guy that, just for one guy that you can look at and come come time when the physicality starts, he's a guy that is a good guy to have on the team. He's got skill as well. Nugent Hopkins, they've got a good mix, and I'm just gonna go there and do everything I can to add to that group and be at my best.
One other question. At what point did you ask the Blackhawks to see if they could help you out and trade you to a team in Western Canada so you'd be closer to your son?
Well, when I got back after the season, I had some time to think about it. Last year was pretty difficult not being able to see him. I went almost 3 months without seeing him. And then had a quick little visit, and then, another close to 2 months without seeing him. So I know that the border restrictions and those type of things might be a little bit different this year, but I was still at a point where, he's 8 years old now. He's got his things going on. And so I just thought that as time went on in the off season, I realized I didn't want to, I knew I didn't want to go those long periods of time without seeing him. So, I'm excited to be closer to him and be able to see him more frequently and have him more involved and being able to come down to Edmonton.
Thank you for that, Duncan. Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
Hey, Duncan. So you bring, there's two questions I have for you. The first one is, you bring this intangible that you've played on a team that's won. This team in Edmonton has a lot of things going for it, but it hasn't figured out how to win the playoffs. Can you take us sort of back to how you figured that stuff out in Chicago, and I guess tell us, people frown on intangibles a little bit these days. How important are they, and what can you bring to help this team figure out how to win when it counts?
Well, it's a tough question. I mean, everybody's looking to win, and there's a lot of good teams in the league. It's easier said than done to win a Stanley Cup. There's 32 teams in the league, and everybody's trying to win the Stanley Cup, and everybody's got good players on their team. So, whatever little bit of experience I can bring to the team, I'm going to bring that. But my work ethic on the ice in games is what I'm going to have to bring. And, I think as a team, you go through a lot of ups and downs in a playoffs, and no team wins the Stanley Cup smooth sailing. So I think it's just being able to kind of ride those valleys and those ups and downs a little bit more smoothly. And if I can bring that experience to the team, more of a calming presence, then that's what I want to do. But having said that, it's something as a team that you need to go through in order to kind of understand about what it takes. And every year is a new challenge, and every year is a different group of guys. So I'm excited about this challenge.
I won't lie to you, bringing in a 38-year-old player hasn't always gone well in this town. People will be skeptical about another older player coming in. What do you have left as a player? Where's your game?
I feel like I got a lot. I guess once we hit the ice, we're going to see who's a step behind out there. So I'm not much for talking. It is what it is, and we'll see what happens when we get on the ice.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, Duncan. It all seems to be here that you'll play behind Darnell Nurse and probably have some less taxing minutes, or that would be the thought, that you would in Chicago. What do you think about that as a player, and how will you kind of adjust maybe your game to that role?
Well, I haven't really discussed any type of role. I think training camp sorts that sort of stuff out. I'm sure the coaching staff and management have their ideas and whatnot, but my mindset is going to training camp and try to earn the respect of the Oiler players and the people in Edmonton, and that's it. And that's what I plan on doing. And however they see me fitting in to try to help the team win games, that's what I'm going to do.
Thanks. And you mentioned the situation with your son earlier. How do you think it has kind of impacted your your game? Has it impacted your game, and how will it help, I guess, probably being closer to your son?
Yeah, that's a good question. Certainly had some times over the last few years, especially where you get pretty down. But I've always been pretty good at compartmentalizing certain things and trying to focus on what I need to do as a player to help my team win. So I just look at it like nothing is changing other than the fact that I'm going to get to see him more, and that's going to be great. And I think that's going to be a great thing for me and my family. But in terms of my on-ice play, I'm going to give it everything I have.
Thank you. Jason Greger, TSN 1260.
Well, Duncan, congratulations on getting closer to your son. I want to ask you, when you had a lot of success in your career, there was continuity. You played with the same pair, same partner a lot. The last few years, you haven't had that. How much does continuity matter, do you feel, to success for a defenseman?
I think with any player, whether it's defense or forward, if you play with somebody that for a while, you develop that chemistry, and naturally, I think certain players have better chemistry right off the bat than others, but it can always be developed through some communication and just kind of over time, getting a read on certain, your partner or your line mates' tendencies. So that's something that every player deals with throughout the course of their career. Even when you're a kid, you're playing with different players, and you realize which guys like to pass the puck maybe more, and which guys hang on to the puck and hog the puck when you're in minor hockey. So, I've always taken a mindset where I try to be at my best, and that'll bring out the best in my defense partner. So, whoever that is, I'm gonna try to be at my best, and I'll let everything take care of itself.
I asked the scout, because obviously in COVID we didn't get to watch Chicago a lot, to give me his assessment. He said that, Keith defends by being aggressive and he attacks a lot. That's the style of your game. A, is that an accurate one? And B, do you think, and he added that, having a veteran partner will allow him to play his game and have the partner react better. Is that a fair, accurate assessment of how you play, and having a veteran partner would help?
Yeah, I think using my speed and my quickness to close in on players is something, part of my game where, I think that's always been my game is trying to be quick and close in on guys, having a good gap, all the things that we, players and coaches talk about as far as playing good defense. When it comes to a partner, I think there's whoever my partner is, whatever situation I'm in, it doesn't matter. I have to be at my best, and I look to keep on trying to get better. And I certainly think it helps your game if you're with a partner or a line mate where there's a lot of trust there. And if you have that trust in knowing the play and what's going to be made, it can allow you to play a little more freely and play your game where you're not second guessing anything or hesitating.
Stephen Wino, Associated Press.
Hey, Duncan. Brett Seabrook obviously retired a few months ago. The Johnson trade happened years ago. I'm just wondering if you can offer some kind of just thought on the era you guys had in Chicago and kind of seeing it all not fall apart, but over time, obviously guys get traded, guys retire. Just what are your thoughts looking back now on the time you guys had and your time in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to kind of just summarize right now. I mean, the trade just happened today, but there's so many great memories of my time in Chicago. Met so many great people in Chicago, not even in the on the team or anything like that. Just people, it's great city. And, you go through those long playoff runs and you come out on top. There's no better feeling. And so that's the goal that's the goal here, going to Edmonton. I guess life rolls on. It's tough to leave Chicago. I've been there for 16 seasons. I was drafted there. It's a great organization. We were always treated, first class as players. I was really part of a kind of a transformation of that team. And I just feel grateful to have been a part of it and play with so many great players in Kane and Taves and Hossa and Sharp and Seabrook, Hjalmarsson, and then the last few years were a little tougher, but sometimes you need those tough times to appreciate the good times. And it's tough to leave, but I'm definitely excited for this new chapter and this new challenge.
Mark Lazarus, The Athletic.
Hi, Duncan. You touched on this, but it's not something a lot of guys have talked about. Just how isolating and mentally challenging was this past season, for not just you, but for everyone? And did you as players talk about those things, or does everybody kind of just bear those burdens privately?
I think we kind of talked about it as players, for sure. I mean, we all realized kind of what we're going through, but as time goes on, and I think it kind of it weighs on you. But the hardest part for me was not seeing my son. I can deal with not going to restaurants and things like that. I like to be around people. I like to enjoy being around the camaraderie of my teammates and my family and friends. So it was difficult in a lot of ways in that regard. And I think everybody had to deal with that to a certain extent. Some guys differently than others, but for myself, I just know that it's a good feeling knowing that I'll be able to see my son more frequently.
I know this isn't the best forum for this, but what are your memories of Brad Aldridge in 2010, and how have these lawsuits been viewed by you and your teammates from that era?
Yeah, it's tough to see, to hear about those things. Obviously, it's a very important subject and something that's going on right now. And for me, I'd rather not get into anything like that in terms of my memories of that and what happened. It's been a long time, and I realize that people want answers and they're doing an investigation, it sounds like. But for me, where I'm at right now, I'm just I'm thankful and grateful for all the years I had in Chicago and the opportunity that the Wirtz family gave to myself and my family. And every minute of it, I just feel lucky to have been a part of those teams and just a part of that city. And so, right now my focus is moving forward and going to Edmonton, and I couldn't be more excited about this new challenge. And I hope one way or another that things work out, for the best with that situation, and it gets sorted out, and there's some way to move on for everybody.
Okay, final two questions. Jack Michaels, 630 Ched.
Duncan, I'm just curious, and you said it. The one thing you haven't done is be part of another organization. So to that end, how do you anticipate working the room and getting your feet wet with a new organization and new teammates and guys that undoubtedly to some degree because you've been in the league so long, but it's still going to be a little bit like a new kid at a different school, I would think.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm excited to get down there and excited to start a new chapter here. I've been on different teams over the course of my career, whether it was Team Canada's and meeting different players and different coaches and changes in scenery and things like that. But, no doubt that it's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do my best to just be myself, and hockey's hockey. Hockey players are all pretty good guys, and guys have reached out to me on both teams, and it's a sad day on one end to be leaving Chicago, but also an exciting time to be moving to a new team with new teammates that I'm looking forward to meeting and getting to know and competing with.
And I had a chance to talk with a couple of people who've covered you and know you fairly well off the ice. And one of them said, I think he's still got a lot to somehow prove, even though he has nothing to prove. And he's still got the same chip on his shoulder he did when he was 18. And I think he meant that in a good way. Like, you're still highly motivated. Can you speak to that a little bit and why you feel like there's still more work to be done in a career that seemingly has it all?
Well, I think I'm a competitive guy. So while I'm competing, I wanna be at my best. And I think in Edmonton, it's going to be a competitive environment, and I'm going to do everything I can to, like I said earlier, earn the respect of my teammates, my new teammates, and the coaching staff and the organization, but also the people in Northern Alberta. I know that they're a passionate fan base, and they want the team to be successful, and I'm well aware of that. So I'm from Canada. I grew up in Canada. I understand, and I'm excited to be going to Canada and being in that type of situation with that type of pressure, and we'll see when we get on the ice how everything shakes out.
Final question, Ryan Rashok.
Oh, Duncan, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hi, Ryan.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, hi. Just following a little bit on the Chicago stuff, do you think that in today's game, players should feel comfortable to be able to come forward with this sort of thing, and that the game is in a place where, they'll be welcomed and supported when this sort of stuff happens, as we're seeing happen right now? Is that important, do you think, and is the game there?
Well, I think it's definitely important, but I'm not so sure that it's just a hockey thing. I think it might be a thing in society, where maybe people, don't feel comfortable or what. I mean, every situation is unique, and I just think that as we're play hockey, but at the same time, we're human beings. We try to be good people, and I think that's the main thing, the main takeaway. Try to help one another out and in ways that we can, and it's I think it's definitely progressing. I mean, the league is so young now with more and more younger players, I think, and so everybody needs to feel comfortable around the room, and I'm looking forward to trying to be a guy that can help out younger players, but not just younger players, older guys too. And I need help as well. So we're all in this together, and we're all going to need to lean on one another. And yeah, I think that, it's come a long ways, but there's always going to be room for improvement.
Yeah, thanks for that. Just wanted to ask about, you did a lot of winning there for a stretch of time between cups and gold medals and such, and what it's like for a player with your level of competitiveness for that to run dry for a while, and what that does to your thirst to get back there once you've felt that once. Like, where is that thirst for you personally, having been at the top of those mountains a few times?
Yeah, I mean, there's no better feeling than winning a Stanley Cup. And I've been fortunate to do it before, but I think it just kind of fuels that fire to do it again. And for me, you know, as I get older and my career moves along, I want to be able to compete at the highest level, and win. But also I want to compete and I want to challenge myself to be at my best. And I feel like that's when I'm at my best, is when I'm challenged, and you know, the Oilers are gonna need me to be at my best, and I'm aware of that, and I'm looking forward to it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.